What's going on, everyone? I do think as we move closer to training camp, I do think we're going to start seeing some just trade rumors and speculation start to pick back up. I just think, you look at teams like Portland, who they don't really want Jerami Grant going into training camp, going into the season. Now, they're not just going to give him away, but I do think from 2 firsts to maybe a first, and now the Lakers are willing to do something like that. I could see that taking place. I could see that playing out. But again, I also think that the Lakers are going to continue to be active. I know a lot of people don't think that the Lakers are going to do anything, but they have said otherwise. And again, Rob Pelinka has made a trade every season but last season. And it's primarily because, they won the in-season tournament. The previous year, they were the Western Conference Finals. I think that there was just this belief that, hey, the Lakers can get this done. They'll figure it out. They'll get it done. Right? And the consensus was, hey, if they don't play Denver or they avoid Denver, they're probably in the NBA Finals. Right? So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. I do think the Lakers will be better as is, just with health and coaching and chemistry and all those things. But I also think that they need a trade, preferably 2. I think a move for just like Jerami Grant, I think would be great, but I think it raises the ceiling slightly, but not enough to where it really matters, right? And I would love, I preach Zach LaVine. I really like the idea of Zach LaVine, but I don't think that the Lakers are really going to do that. I'll keep putting it out there in the universe for all the Zach LaVine stands out there like myself. I just think that he gives us the highest ceiling raiser without having to give up any real assets, and we could still make other moves. But, I look at, okay, if we can get the Jerami Grant deal done for a first, right? Great. That's Rui, Gabe Vincent, and then as well as a, Cam Reddish or Jackson Hayes or Christian Wood, something like that. And then it's like, okay, well, where do we go from there, right? I really like the idea of Bruce Brown. I do. But, Bruce Brown plus Jerami Grant, I do think makes us a lot better. Now, again, I think real ceiling raiser, got that point of attack, defense. Really like the idea of those two, or instead of Jerami Grant, you go get like a Cam Johnson or something like that. You could even technically get both and just kind of go big and have like LeBron be the point guard on offense, and then, have LeBron slide to the 4 on defense, and then have like Jerami Grant and, kind of have like this weird hybrid, type of lineup. It's always a possibility. I also look at reliable, right? Because a lot of teams that make trades with each other in the past usually will do it again. And that's where I think Danny Ainge really comes in. And it's funny because every time I mention the Jazz, I always get comments that are like, why would Danny Ainge help the Lakers? Like, Danny Ainge would never trade with the Lakers. And it's like, well, Danny Ainge has already traded with the Lakers twice, right? That's how we got Patrick Beverley. And then we followed that up with the big trade. And we only had to give up 1 protected first. When all offseason and all season leading up to the trade deadline, all we heard was that the Lakers had to give up 2 unprotected firsts just to unload Russell Westbrook. That's not counting anything else. That's just for Russell Westbrook, just to unload him. And then Danny Ainge came in and said, hey, I'll give you Malik Beasley, give you Jared Vanderbilt, which Jared Vanderbilt originally wasn't a part of the deal. Danny Ainge didn't want to give up Jared Vanderbilt, but lo and behold, he eventually did because he believes the Lakers picks are the best on the market. Because he believes when LeBron James and Anthony Davis ride off into the sunset, the Lakers are going to be awful, right? And he might not be wrong. He may be right, the way that the Lakers have kind of operated the last few years. But he gave us Jared Vanderbilt, gave us Malik Beasley, and he helped us get D'Angelo Russell, all for a protected first and taking on Russell Westbrook. So he's more than happy to help us out. He's more than happy to work with us. And he has a guy in Walker Kessler that makes a lot of sense. Now, the Knicks and the Jazz have had conversations about potentially trading for Walker Kessler, but nothing has come to fruition. Supposedly, the Knicks offered 2 firsts for Walker Kessler, but again, not all firsts are created equal, right? So reports say that Walker Kessler is not part of Danny Ainge's future plans, that he's willing to trade him and get off of him, right? They do have Kyle Filipowski, and they do have like several big men that, it kind of, somebody's going to be the odd man out, right? So it makes sense if you can get some assets back for Walker Kessler, you should do it, right? To me, Utah also has couple other pieces. Like, I wouldn't want like John Collins. Stay away from John Collins. I know some people want Jordan Clarkson. I don't. Stay away from Jordan Clarkson. He is one of the most inefficient players in the league. Can he go get a bucket? Absolutely. Right? But he is so inefficient. And also, if you pull off another trade, you're going to have to trade D'Angelo Russell, which if you trade for like a Bruce Brown, then you kind of solve that problem. But if it's not, right? Like, let's say you traded for a Wendell Carter Jr. Like, yes, that's great. You solved one need in the big man department, but you just opened a hole for another need, which is another point guard and a playmaker. And yes, Austin Reeves could technically slide over to the point if you wanted to, but I don't really trust him yet as the primary playmaker, right? Can he make the occasional play? Sure. Can he, run the pick and roll? Sure. He can do the basics, but he can't really develop things out of nothing. He doesn't really see the court the way that you need to. Like watch D'Angelo Russell play, particularly when LeBron isn't playing, right? He's literally out there creating stuff, right? He is figuring out like, okay, where are the holes in this defense? And he is at times just getting the ball and just going and being patient and surveying and taking his time, right? Nothing develops. Okay, let me do this little floater here, right? Boom. Then I'm going to survey again. Okay, let me kick this out over here, right? Boom. He's creating where Austin Reeves is kind of just like initiates, passes, or he just gets tunnel vision a lot. Occasion again, he'll run a set, run a play, but he also has a difficulty with ball pressure, which we saw last season. So not really sold on that. So my fear is solving one issue to now open another issue rather than having everything flush. And that's where I think Utah could kind of come in play, and you could do something where you could get Colin Sexton. I've talked about Colin Sexton before. Now, a lot of people look at Colin Sexton and go, like, why would you trade D'Lo for Colin Sexton, right? They're kind of the same player. I'd rather have D'Angelo Russell. If I'm being honest, I'd rather have D'Angelo Russell too, but you're not just doing a one-for-one swap of like D'Lo and Colin Sexton, and there you go. Because that would be kind of a lateral move, in my opinion. I do think Colin Sexton does give you things that D'Lo doesn't. Still gives you the shooting, not at like the volume in which D'Lo was able to do, but also Colin Sexton hasn't gotten the opportunity to shoot those many, so maybe. But Colin Sexton will give you 40% from three, but he also gives you better rim pressure. He's more athletic, right? Defensively, when he's terrible when he's not engaged, right? He's about as bad as D'Angelo Russell is when he's not engaged, but when he is, and he's bought in on the defensive side, he's actually very good defensively. He's better than D'Lo when he's locked in and engaged. So to me, you're not just doing a one-for-one swap. You're doing a D'Lo plus, Jackson Hayes or something like that for a Colin Sexton and a Walker Kessler move. To me, you're giving up that other first. You're removing the protection on the 2027 first. You're getting your young center for now and the future. So now you don't really have to worry about the center for the next, 10 plus years, right? You have the guy that can immediately slot in, play now, right? So you get that ready to go now guy. Obviously, he's still a project. Obviously, he still needs some work, right? He's not a ready-made project, but he's younger than Dalton Connect, only by like a couple months, but he's still younger than Dalton Connect. So you have a lot of room and growth and potential. And I mean, his per 36 numbers are like insane. It's like 14 points. I think it's 12 and a half rebounds and then like 3.5 blocks per game, right? Like with like a steal and an assist or 2 assists or something like that, right? Like, so if he can come anywhere close to that, he would be amazing. But he's a, 8-and-8 guy or 9-and-8 guy off the bench with like a block and a half, 2 blocks, right? That's perfect. You slot him alongside Anthony Davis. If he can give us a near double-double or double-double because he's playing alongside guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, if he can give us essentially a double-double per game, that's perfect, especially off the bench. He can slide in, play alongside Anthony Davis. He's shown the ability to stretch the floor. He's not really a floor-stretching big yet, but he has shown the ability to be able to do that and knock it down, which is good for the growth and development. Can also make plays out of the post. He's actually pretty good in that department of just like when the defense collapses, kicking it out to open shooters and stuff. So he's shown the versatility there. I really like Walker Kessler, right? I've even talked about it. Zach LaVine is at the top of my list. Next might be Walker Kessler. And it's not that he's like better than, Jerami Grant or any of these guys, right? It's that he can come, he solves a need. He can come in and play immediately and have a real impact. But he also is the piece for the future, right? Now, again, you have your center of the future. And I also think if you can get Colin Sexton in the move, I do think you are slightly better with Colin Sexton than D'Angelo Russell. Not because of, again, I like D'Lo more as far as like the playmaking goes and just the volume shooting. And he's been really good playing off ball with LeBron and AD. But I also think that the Lakers, because they have Austin Reeves and they don't seem willing to trade Austin Reeves, you have a bigger need for the athleticism, for the rim pressure, and he still gives you the shoot. He still gives you a lot of the same stuff as D'Angelo Russell. But you can argue to the Jazz, like, hey, D'Lo's expiring this year. Walker Kessler, yeah, that's the prize. But Colin Sexton, they're very similar. I mean, their stats are the same. I mean, all of it, right? And they even have like similar contracts, all of it. To me, it's just like, hey, we can do this swap, right? Yeah, you help us out. We remove the protection. We give you another first because we already traded a first for Jerami Grant. Or you could do, the Jazz trade first and then do the Walker Kessler or the Jerami Grant trade. Either way, it doesn't matter. But get the first, get that, and we'll take on Colin Sexton in his contract because he has another year. So you're clearing salary off to kind of reshuffle the deck next season. Right? And you're also getting off of Walker Kessler's money, and you won't have to give him a new contract or anything like that because, again, Jackson Hayes or whomever you trade would be expiring as well. Or maybe they want a young guy. I'd basically be like, as long as it's not Dalton Connect or Max Christie, like if you want Jalen Schifino, although I do like the idea of Jalen Schifino, I still think there's a lot of potential there. But if you can get Walker, it's easier to solve that guard position, especially because you have Bronny, so you're going to develop him, than going and getting a center that already can give you a double-double and is young enough to have some real growth and potential. I just think that's a much harder get. So to me, I basically would just say, as long as it's not Max Christie or Dalton Connect, you can have. You want Maxwell Lewis, you want Jalen Schifino, or do you want one of these expiring contract guys? Go ahead, take it, right? And then now you kind of have this like 2-for-2 swap, right? Maybe you can even unload another guy to kind of clear off some salary because you got to fill in some spots because you're doing a 3-for-1 trade for Jerami Grant. So the problem is that, like, yes, you'd be, because they have 15 spots now, you'd still need to fill a roster spot, and you only have 45,000. So you'd have to kind of maybe figure something out. So maybe you can even get Utah to take on, maybe they take on Christian Wood and they take on a Jackson Hayes, or maybe they take on Jackson Hayes and like a Maxwell Lewis. Right, so you're clearing an extra, like $3 million or whatever, and then you're just bringing in, like Blake Henson and whoever else, right? Like, Armel Traore, or you just, go with any of these guys, right? Like any of the Colin Castleton, even whomever, right? Just slide one of those guys in because their vet minimum is like 900,000, so you'd be fine there. You could sign the 2 guys that you need to sign, and you're good. Right, so I think that works. Get back Colin Sexton. He's now your starting point guard alongside Austin Reeves, alongside Jerami Grant, alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and then you still have pieces in Walker Kessler. If you can keep Christian Wood, you have Christian Wood. Now you got those two. You got the 6'10" guy off the bench, and then the 7-foot guy, I think he's like 7'1", off the bench. So now you got size off the bench at the power forward and center position. You're good there. Jared Vanderbilt off the bench as the 3. You still have Dalton Connect, who can now slot in and play. You could always move Reeves to the backup point if you needed to. And then you have Max Christie, right? Like you're flush. You're fine. You got like Max Christie, Dalton Connect. You have Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, and then if you keep Jalen Schifino, you got Jalen Schifino. So Lakers would be deep, they'd be talented, they'd be versatile, more athletic, right? Better point of attack, all of it. I just think that would be better. You got your point guard who is still very young. He's younger than D'Lo, so you got young point guard. You still got a young center that you can grow and develop. I think that's a really good alternative. But Anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Bass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of getting Colin Sexton, Walker Kessler, and Jerami Grant? Do you have other ideas? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.